Good afternoon, grade 6, and welcome. Last week we began to look at friendship. We said that friendships are important, and real friends accept one another for who they are. They learn to care for each other, and they support one another in making good choices. So please listen as I read from the text. Part of God's plan. You probably have several good friends, and maybe one best friend. You know how important friends are. If you find a good friend, you have found a treasure. As you grow older, another quality will influence your friendships: your sexuality. Sexuality is everything about you that relates to being male or female. It is part of who you are as a person. Your sexuality influences your personality and attitudes. It affects the way you relate to other people and to the world. The gift of sexuality is part of God's marvelous plan for new life. God created two sexes, male and female. The differences between them reflect God's own wonder and beauty. The differences show that men and women are made to be together and complement one another. Sexuality, however, does not make women and men totally different from one another. Men and women can enjoy the same jobs and activities. Women can enjoy watching the Super Bowl or playing with the television remote control. Men can love to cook or to sew. The real difference between men and women is not what they do, but who they are. Okay, so let me reinforce what I just read. Our sexuality helps describe the whole person and not just the reproductive anatomy. It is part of who we are as people. Your sexuality influences your personality and attitudes. It affects the way you relate to other people and to the world. Our gift of sexuality is part of God's plan for new life. Our gender differences tell us we need to be together and to complement each other. Now, the word complement, what does it mean? Let me try to give you some examples. You know, we say colors complement each other, they go well together, or our hairstyles would complement our face, the way we look, the clothing we wear, it brings out our figure, and so on. So God gave us different gifts to complement what is missing in the other. Another example. My husband was the patient, kind, and gentle one. I was the loudmouth disciplinarian. Our gifts, when combined, brought out the best in each other. And who benefited? The children. Now my children are grown and they have their own special gifts too. One is the more gentle and kind and caring person, or at least she shows that, whereas the other one is a disciplinarian, and she likes things to be perfect and to do things well and to work to the best of her abilities. Now the tables have turned and I am benefiting from their different gifts. All right, so I hope that explained what complementarity means. We will continue by reading Friendship and Marriage. Right now, your best friends are probably your own sex, and that's normal and natural at this stage in life. Throughout your life, you will continue to have close friendships based on gender. These are the traits associated with being male or female. As you enter puberty, your feelings toward the other sex will probably begin to change. Boys and girls will begin to find one another more interesting. This is called sexual attraction. Another word for this attraction to people of the opposite sex is heterosexuality. This attraction is part of God's plan to prepare people to marry. As time passes, You will probably make many friends of the opposite sex. Eventually, one of these persons may become your best friend. If you are ready for the next stage of life, you may decide to get married. Both your sexual attraction and your friendship will help your love and your marriage grow. A husband and wife may enjoy spending time with other married couples. They may each continue to have other men and women friends, but they save the full expression of love and friendship for each other. That is the basis for fidelity or faithfulness in marriage. Okay, so as I read, at this time in your life, you may have friends, or maybe even your best friend would be of the same sex, and that is quite all right, right? Because at this age, that is normal. But as you grow and you mature, you will find the opposite sex becoming attractive, and you will want to spend more time and so on with them. And that is God's way of preparing you for marriage. All right? Okay, so I would just like to acknowledge here that that feeling of sexual attraction, you are not ready to act on it as yet. That is for when you are when you get older and you decide to get married. And that is many, many years away. You're still preparing for the grade 6 exam, isn't that so? So you're just acknowledging the feeling, leaving it there, and then concentrating on what is important at this time in your life now, forming friendships, and concentrating on your studies, your exams, educating yourself. Now, single people. Some people never marry. In the Roman Catholic tradition, priests and religious brothers and sisters remain celibate. They promise to remain unmarried as part of their vocation. They give their lives to God and serve the needs of God's family. Some people simply feel called by God to live as single people. A person's job may be very demanding, or family responsibilities may require a person's full attention. Some married adults become single again through separation, divorce, or the death of a marriage partner. Some adults do not marry because they feel a strong sexual attraction to members of their own sex. Attraction to members of the same sex is called homosexuality. All single people are called to live chaste lives, yet they need to develop friendships with other men and women. Such friendships will have the sexual expression that is part of marriage, but they are important for growing in love. Jesus is the great example of one who loved deeply and who also lived a chaste life. Good, so there were some new words introduced here. I will just go over and try to explain them, but you will be copying the meanings, okay? So first, it's heterosexual, which simply means attracted to those of the opposite sex. And homosexual, on the other hand, is when you're attracted to those of the same sex. But we will not go into any details here now in relation to homosexual, or what is a homosexual, and all such discussions will be held for when you withhold until you get much older. Then there was fidelity, which is the quality of or state of being faithful. So when you get married, you're expected to be faithful to your husband or wife. Okay? And celibate. Celibate means unmarried, and it is closely related to the ancient root words that mean one who lives alone. And we said that some single people choose to be celibate, like the priests in the Catholic Church and the nuns, like Sister Marie, our bishop, the Pope. All of them are celibate. They have chosen that way of life, and that's okay. All right? So let us read about the virtue of chastity. Chastity, the habit of balance in a person's powers of life and love. The chaste person avoids any behavior that would harm that balance. A chaste person follows God's law and the teaching of the church as far as sex is concerned. Every person is called to be pure and chaste in whatever state of life he or she chooses. Now, we Catholics believe that sexuality affects every aspect of a person in the unity of his or her body and soul in a particular way. It is the ability to love one partner and to bear children. It is in a more general way, sexuality helps people form bonds of community and friendship. Everyone should acknowledge and accept his or her sexual identity. Everyone should remember that in creating people, male and female, God gave men and women an equal personal dignity. So, in other words, man and woman, or men and women, are not better than each other, but they are equal. God created us equally with different jobs to do. All right? As you get older, we will discuss more about that. All right, so I will advise you to go back and reread the entire text that is there on your screen, and next week you will have a quiz. So until next time, goodbye.